Paper hands or diamond hands, my Top Shot friends? I'm going to talk about 8 moments that I picked up this week and why I picked them up. Stay tuned. Hello to all my collectibles friends, all my NBA Top Shot friends. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode today. If you have not subscribed yet, guys, we're talking about all things collectibles, even the digital ones, even the digital assets. I should have 2 videos coming out today, so if you are a physical collectible person, a physical sports card or physical item type person, I should have a video for you as well. But thank you very much for joining if you are here for the Top Shot Talk. I'm looking forward to talking about this, kind of a little bit of strategy talk and just kind of where my head is this week with some of these moments. So if you've been following this market at all, you have seen that we are at a low end of pricing. I've been talking about this recently. Is this a buying opportunity with this dip? I mean, we always talk about buying the dip. Who's buying the dip? Or are you guys just sitting on the sidelines? Either way, totally fine. Understand either way. Like I said in all my other videos, whether you're involved in NBA Top Shot or not, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just enjoying it, and I'm just enjoying my time sharing it with you all. So pricing is down really, I mean, back to like January levels, early January in some cases. It's pretty low. I don't know if you would call them bargains, but if you were looking to get in on some star players and you were looking at price points that were more in line with kind of getting in on a platform, we're kind of to that point. I mean, there's a lot of star players that have moments that are limited edition that are fairly reasonable. Just depends on kind of which players you like and which players you're targeting. My guess is that kind of in a similar way to sports cards, and I could be totally wrong, I don't see the future, but basketball cards typically dip after the NBA Finals, or for teams that have been knocked out of the Finals, or for teams that never even made the playoffs. At the end of that basketball season, you'll kind of see a rundown in prices, and then especially as we're entering into off season, I'm very, very curious to see what happens with Top Shot. I think that the same sort of thing is going to happen. I think that there's going to be a little bit of a letdown after the season goes, unless they release some sort of, vintage moments or something different that's exciting. But I think it's kind of a natural part of the market for it to have kind of those ebbs and flows where you're leading up to a season and there's excitement, and then during the season there's excitement, etc. And then kind of you leave that season behind and the prices kind of deflate a little bit and they retreat back. I think that that's fairly normal. But again, we'll have to see how that goes. And I guess the big question is will there be a spike leading up to the playoffs and through the playoffs, and then maybe it's coming back down, to a different level than where it is now? Or will it stay stagnant all the way through the playoffs and then kind of dip down again? There's so many moving parts to this market as far as supply, demand, etc. I mean, they've got all sorts of different things. So there's a lot of things that play into whether there's going to be ups and downs for sure. For me personally, I'm not buying any moments that have more than 15,000 in the run. So it's 15,000 LE or less for me, whether that's season 1 or season 2. And I'm not focused on anything that's 35,000 CC. I'm just not. And frankly, where prices are now, for a lot of players, I would much rather buy the 15,000. They're reasonable in my opinion. And then you have 7,500 LEs as well that have come down in price. And then depending on the player you're looking at, there's Series 1 that's even less than that. And then there's kind of the inserts, the Seeing Stars and the All-Star, type moments as well that, depending on the players that you like, there's some opportunities in there. So really depends on how you're collecting, how you're investing in Top Shot. But I'm going to go ahead and just share a few of the ones that I got. I got 8 this week. You'll see some consistencies in the strategy. All right, first up, I picked up 2 Luka Doncic Seeing Stars. I guess you could call these inserts. These were, specialized packs that came out. These are limited out of 10,000. And so they're a little bit more limited than the 15,000 LE. And the pricing came all the way down on these this past week to $125 each. I got 2 that were one was in the $5,000 or serial 5,000. Another one was in the 6,000 serial range. So kind of right there in the middle. It's not a 10,000, and it's not a number one, but right kind of in the middle. But 125 was about as low that I have ever seen that one, and so I picked up a couple of those. I had already owned a couple of those that I bought much higher in the $400 or $600 range. For the Seeing Stars. So those have come way, way down. And again, Luka Doncic, I'm a believer in him long-term in the league. He's the brightest young star you could argue, in the whole league. So I don't mind, at this price point compared to where we've been on the platform, I like these. And especially because on that Seeing Stars moment, he's making a move on Zion. He's making a move and a layup on Zion, which I think is just a really cool moment. So I also agree with the folks that think that the moment itself matters. And I think that moment in particular, because he's schooling Zion, so to speak, I think that'll be a cool one down the line. All right, the next one, Jokic, the Joker for the Nuggets. The MVP contender. He's in the mix. Guys. And his Seeing Stars, again, it's out of 10,000. I picked one up for about $75. And this is a guy that I think is vastly underrated. We just heard that Jamal Murray tore his ACL, unfortunately. So it's really on the Joker's back now to make it happen for the Nuggets. Can they still pull it together? They still have a very good team. They did lose Murray, who is a big loss in my opinion. But I do think that they're still going to make some noise in the playoffs. I think they're still going to have some things to say in the playoffs. I don't think they're a championship team now, whereas I think they were kind of a sleeper, dark horse contender for the finals. With the team, they were kind of sneaky good. No one really talking about them. And now I think that that's probably shot for this year. I could be wrong, though. Maybe they'll pull it together. Maybe some other guys will step up. But the Joker, I felt like was at this price point. I like this one, and I like the move he's doing. It's kind of like an underhanded, like behind the back or underneath the basket pass. It's just a cool moment. So I picked one of those up, and I do have a couple of these as well, a couple more of these that I had picked up at a higher price. So buying the dip, it's like you're buying something on the way down and just keep, for me, if I believe in the player, believe in the set, whether this be physical sports cards or NBA Top Shot, I'm not afraid to buy multiples of it on the way down. On that note, Devin Booker Seeing Stars, same price point really, $65. Mine was in the 2000s out of 10,000. And Booker, another bright young star, plays on a Suns team that, again, is kind of sneaky good in the West. They might make some noise in the playoffs. You never know. I think the expectation is that LeBron, AD come back, the Lakers just do their thing and get through the West. That's really kind of my expectation too. But, you've got these young teams. Booker is one of these young players. What is he, 24 years old? He's got a lot of years left, so I just like him for the short term, the long term. And now that these have just really come down in price, I'm all for it. So I picked up a Booker. All right, next up, same Seeing Stars, Jason Tatum, about 3,000 out of 10,000, $75, $75, $80 range. And again, Jason Tatum, I just like that player. I think he's young, he's super young. He's 23 or something, bright future in the league, plays for a huge franchise in the Celtics. And the same way that I like Tatum on the sports cards side, I just like him on the NBA Top Shot side as well. I think that he's going to be a player that matters over the next 3 to 5 years, possibly more. So I like this one. So I picked up the Jason Tatum Seeing Stars, as well as a couple more, and I already had quite a few of these. The Jason Tatum Jump Shot, the LE out of 15,000. These came all the way down to $29, $30 for the Tatum out of 15,000. So low compared to where it's been. I had bought those at $100 at one point, and they were already down. I got one at $31, another one for $35. So I added to my position in the Jason Tatum LE 15,000 because again, if they're going to make a habit of Top Shot, make a habit of the new releases being higher print run, so to speak, those 35,000 plus. If that's going to be kind of the new norm and they don't really do a lot of the 7,500, 15,000 anymore, it becomes an older moment. And again, I've talked on the channel, I'm a long-term thinker on this. I'm a believer, a long-term believer. Of course, nobody knows, it's all speculation, but I just like these players, and I think over time, $30 for the 15,000 LE, I feel pretty good about it. All right, last but not least, I picked up another one of the Luka Doncic out of 15,000. These got all the way down to $150. This is a nice assist, kind of around the back. I just like the moment. I've got multiples of this, and $150 is as low as I've been able to get it. I think I've spent as much as $400 or $500 on one of these. But again, I just think, I believe in Luka. I like him long term as a player, or at least in the next few years. I think kind of in a post-LeBron NBA, who are the superstars going to be? And I think Luka is going to be one of these guys that progressively, takes hold in the league. I think he's going to be a good player for a long time, barring injury, of course. So guys, what do you think about the moments that I picked up? Again, buy what you like. If you don't like any of these players, or you're on a totally different path, maybe going for stuff that's a little bit more scarce. Maybe you like the 35,000 CCs. Perfectly fine. Everybody collects differently. Do what you want, buy what you want. That's the whole deal here. I just have fun collecting Top Shot. I think that it's cool. I'm one of the people that's in on it as a collector. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will talk to you again soon. Have an awesome day, guys.